How is agriculture, how's ranching in the year 2015? I mean, could you make a go of it if there weren't energy projects too?
Well, I think that there are some folks that make it go. I mean, I think that it's, I don't know, to be honest with you. I mean,
it's tough. I mean, it's, even though it's a vast property, it takes a lot of land to support one.
Especially out here in West Texas, I mean, you can only run a cow to every 22 acres or something like that. So you've got to have a lot of property in order to run cows. And in the cow business, you know, in my opinion, it's a volume business. If you run 5 head, you're not going to make any money. If you run 50, you're not going to make too much. And you know, really, if you're going to run cattle and you need 300, 400 head, you know, to make a really economic go of it.
Now, we're right behind you is a massive wind turbine. You were telling me that you were one of the first folks in West Texas to get into the wind business. Tell me about that, please.
Well, it was in 1999, and there was really no commercial wind in Texas at the time. And there was a proposal from what was Texas Electric at the time, and they wanted to start a wind development in Texas. And Texas was interested in wind at the time, and we were one of the very first commercial wind parks that was built.
Now, where I come from in Canada, there's objections to wind turbines. I think one of the reasons is you don't have guys with 9,000 acres. You have a lot of people maybe not quite this close to a wind turbine, and they're not getting the mailbox money. They object. I mean, I can hear that. It's like a plane is flying.
It reminds me, it's a freeway, you know, and if you live in, you know, like the guys would come out here and they'd say, they don't make any noise. And I'm like, well, you live in Los Angeles, and you don't know what no noise is, you know, because noise is, you know, if you're in Dallas or Houston or Los Angeles, you hear that noise all the time. Yeah. It's constant. But here, it is noise that we hear.
Here's my thought. It's a theory. I want to put it to you. I want to tell you that I come from a place that's very critical of wind power for reasons of aesthetics. They don't have the proper local consultations. And the power prices in my province that I live in now, Ontario, are the highest in North America to subsidize wind. I want to put a theory to you, and you just tell me if you agree or disagree. My sense is that West Texas had an amazing run with conventional oil and gas, but that started to trail down, and opportunities started to go, and this was a happy coincidence of, you know, it's windy out here, the federal mandate, the state got in on it, so it was a way for families, landowners, you know, working men to have something going in West Texas in 1999. That sounds about right. And then about 5 years ago, something real and big and massive and not in need of subsidy came along, namely fracking. And for every job or, you know, BTU or gigajoule of power created by wind turbines, you know, multiply it by 100 by fracking. That's my theory. What would you say to my theory?
Well, I think that's probably right. There was, you know, when they started fracking and doing when they changed how they completed oil and gas wells, and they made property that was completely unproductive in the past productive for oil and gas, there's no question about the amount of energy that you're going to produce from an oil well as opposed to a wind turbine. I mean, it just it doesn't compare, and it is and the boom in West Texas started when they started where they would do multi-stage, you know, these giant frac jobs and make things productive that weren't productive in the past.
Now, we've been talking about that spinning thing, but let's just turn our gaze down there, because literally down there, that big open pad, a few weeks ago there was a big drilling rig there. Now we just see a black valve on top of it. That is a well that's being drilled, and it's about to be fracked. Am I right?
That's correct.
And in these parts, that would be mainly oil, perhaps some natural gas and gas liquid.
Probably mostly oil. I mean, with the price of energy today, oil is everybody's more interested in oil than they are gas.
And so that would go down, what, almost 2 miles, eh? Is that?
Well, it's like 9,000 feet is where it is.
And so that area there, you're going to have another. You're going to have the frack trucks come in. Is going to frack it. How, in your experience in these parts, would that be 1 month or 2 months that the fracking would take place? Or did you know how big a deal that's going to be?
I mean, how long it'll take to do it? Yeah. Oh, they'll do it in like a 48-hour period.
Oh, the whole thing they'll be fracked in 48 hours.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's the way it's typically.
Oh, so it's just are there a bunch of horizontal?
This is just a vertical well. This isn't a horizontal.
So it's just go down frack and go
straight down.
So it's fascinating to me that you got wildlife, you had ranching in the family in the past, maybe not so economic. You put the wind turbines up, you get the mailbox money for that. You got wind there, you got fracking there, you got more wind there, and you say there's more oil and gas down there?
Yes, they're in the process of, hopefully there's more. Yeah. There's we have they're just really in the process of beginning the development of this property.
I'm not asking you to tell me your private business, but if this frack job comes on as you expect and as the company would expect, they're putting the money in, do you think that the proceeds from the oil and gas will exceed what you get from the wind turbines?
Yes. There's no question about that.
The United States, in Texas and Alaska, two great oil-producing states, it was sort of dipping down a bit until fracking came along, totally rejuvenated. Texas is making more oil now than almost ever before. Maybe it's a record.
Right. I mean, in our community, it's just the number of people, the economic turnover in our community is crazy. I mean, it has been, there are... the restaurants are full, the hotels are full. It's been a big economic boom to us.